So our coaching traps, we all have them. You will have a preference. Mostly it comes from accuracy. An accuracy first shooter will always teach accuracy as a solution. Or your speed shooter. You always teach going faster as a solution. You can teach somebody to do something well if you focus on what is their problem, not what is your preference. So we all have our go-to selection of corrections. It's either grip the gun, press the trigger correctly, or see the sights. But that doesn't mean it's the right input. And that comes from the next part of this, which is the bias. Our bias is to whatever we learn to be the hardest. If it was hard for us, it's hard for everybody, and it's simply not true. And I use the analogy, or the metaphor in this case, of teaching MMA fighters to draw a gun in 1 second. It took less than an hour. They're trained athletes. They know how to grip a gun well. And all we had to do was teach them the motion, which they found incredibly simple compared to the tasks they've already done. Sometimes our preference and bias actually make it harder for the student to learn because we teach from where we were weak instead of addressing where they are weak. And that's the secret to really good coaching traps, is know that you have them, be aware of them. You'll float back into them. Just know what you're doing. Know why you're doing it. When you look at the rest of these, we teach from the gun backwards. It should always be from the person forward. The tool doesn't matter. It's the person that is the constant. All right? The tool matters if it doesn't fit your hand. It matters if it's not functioning. But otherwise, it doesn't matter. You don't teach from the trigger backwards. You teach from the brain forward. The superstar. It's all about me. I am the grand wizard. I am the grand poobah. And I will anoint you in the way of martialness, and you'll be a great shooter.
Boo.
So that's a tough one, and we're all addicted to that. Guided learning. I ask the question, I supply the answer, you repeat the answer. And everybody looks awesome, except when I leave the room. Right, teacher? And then what happens? If you ask the question again, they'll look for the teacher and they can't answer it. And this is one of the biggest traps in the world, is guided learning, is complete regurgitation. If you regurgitate, you purge yourself of the memory, and therefore you can't apply the knowledge in a future base. And if you're in anything like science, math, sports, progressive learning is important. We can't simply let go of the old information. A lack of accountability. All right. Demonstrations and standards are important for the instructor to do because people have what's called mirror neurons, and they watch the other person and then they say, I can do that too. That's why we're apex predators. Your thumbs aren't the reason. It's because you can mirror behaviors of diverse things in the world. Other people, other species, how plants work, and we can mimic their behavior, allowing us to get ahead of it. A lack of discipline. You just do what you want. You talk about what you want. You tell your stories. You have no curriculum. You don't follow your own skills. You don't have an accountability to the process. And it happens to all of us. The word discipline means to learn. It doesn't mean to be punished. You must submit to the discipline as a coach, just as the student does. And you're in the process of learning together. Preventing or avoiding mistakes. If you prevent or avoid failure, you defer it to a future occasion which may have catastrophic results. If you don't let the person fail, you can't teach them how to overcome it. It is the learning. Just imagine the first time you got up and tried to walk and you fell down and you said, well, that's enough of that. I'm never doing that again. I'm going to crawl for the rest of my life. Don't avoid failure. Let them do it. And is it a miss if I learn from it? It's not. It's a lesson. Deferring progress. In 10,000 hours, you'll be better. In 3 months, you'll be better. Could be true, but not necessarily. Can we make an improvement now? Can we show them how to make the improvement? Can we show them how to improve themselves in the future? Instead of saying, listen, you're not going to get this now, but you will if you follow my path in the future. We should have some ability to show them that we can make a change now and how it works and how we can grow. I like the 3 seconds, 3 minutes, 3 days, 3 weeks, and 3 month progression. If you practice in those increments, you can get it. If it's a big problem, it's 3 months. If it's a tiny problem, it's 3 seconds. And sometimes other instructors have done all the work. And I simply get to walk in and say the right word at the right time with the right environment, and they go, I get it. It wasn't me, and no, it wasn't me. So I give you thanks too for doing the work ahead of me. The inability to grow, adapt, or change. Once you create a system, the system traps you, the curriculum traps you, and it can't be changed. It becomes a committee meeting in your head or another group of people, and it simply begins to wither on the vine. And we've all seen that. Martial arts was the worst at this. Just because Joe Smith could fight doesn't mean Bob Smith could fight. We all have to grow, adapt, and change, or else we're sitting still and we're decaying. You fragment your curriculum too much. You think one thing is more important than the other. You think sights is more important than triggers, and they're not synergetic. You think if everybody grips the pistol harder, it'll work out for them. If everybody stands the way you do, it becomes fragmentation, and it's very small slivers. The unfortunate part about that is the people that need those lessons won't come to your class, and the one that's already got it come for your approval, because they believe that to be the pathway too. And the final one is, which I feel like I'm in the middle of, is you end up over teaching. You just can't stop talking. It seems all really important, and you got to get it all out. All right, and if you don't, you're going to fail these people. But sometimes, as an instructor, you just got to shut up and let them do it. Thank you for tuning into my TED Talk.